into the yard, beast from the east, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Lights Out. I'm Faisal Khan, and I'm delighted to be joined by the voice of BT Sport, Mr. John Rawling. John, how you doing?
Very well, thank you.
John, I'm going to rewind you back to December the 1st. Right hand, left hand, and down he goes, and I don't think he's going to get up, but Tyson Fury did get up. Talk to me about the experience of commentating Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder.
I'm still standing here, or sitting here now, not really quite sure how Tyson did manage to get up from that knockdown. It was one of the most extraordinary comebacks that you'd ever see. When he went down with that left hand, you sort of thought he's going to be down there for a couple of minutes, and then when he got up at the count of 6, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. I mean, I think most people, after they get up after a night's sleep, you get out of bed, get to your feet, and you look more unsteady than Tyson did as he got up off the canvas. It was an astonishing turnaround. And not only did he get up, he won the rest of the round.
It was astonishing because when the referee asked him to walk towards him, he sort of like jogged it, and he didn't walk. He sort of like just jogged towards the referee. In terms of his performance, how highly do you rate that performance that he put in against Deontay Wilder?
It was outstanding. I mean, I said beforehand, when people, if you remember in the coverage, people were asking beforehand, how do you think it's going to go? And I said, in the run-up to it, I said there's a very real possibility that Tyson Fury is going to get in there against Deontay Wilder and just be too good for him and just school him. And I think really for the first 8 rounds, that's pretty much what happened. What happened in the last 2 or 3 rounds was maybe the inactivity and the fact that he'd been out of the ring, lack of fight sharpness, and that was the stage at which it caught up with him. But you know, I mean, fair play. It was a fantastic performance. It really was. And
of course, your thoughts on the overall decision that it was a draw at the end. What did you make of the judges' scorecards?
Well, I thought it was rubbish. I thought that Tyson, at the time, I thought Tyson won clearly, and I still think he won clearly. I think he was very unlucky, and it's a sign of his maturity now that he was able to take that and basically shrug his shoulders and say, yeah, that's a wrong decision, but you know, these things happen, and dust yourself down and be ready to come again. And when he does come again, I think there'll be no doubt next time.
What do you make of the current situation in the heavyweight division right now? You know, there's talks of the rematch with Wilder and Fury. There's also talks of an opponent for Anthony Joshua for April the 13th. What's your thoughts on the current situation right now? What do you expect to happen next?
Well, I expect there to be a rematch. I think Deontay and Tyson will go again. Whether it's in the UK or whether it's in the United States remains to be seen. Anthony Joshua, well, they're talking about Miller in the United States, which could well happen. It gets him a bigger profile over there, which is part of the marketing strategy. I just hope that the big fights involving AJ against Tyson Fury, against Deontay Wilder, against Dillian Whyte, I hope that somewhere down the line that they do happen. I think that the fans want to see that, and you know, I mean, okay, I make my living out of commentating and being involved in promotions, but I'm also a fan, and as a fan, I want to see those fights.
John, would it not make sense for the rematch between Wilder and Fury for the winner of that fight to fight Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, perhaps maybe in the summer at Wembley this year?
I think that's going to be too early. It could happen in theory, but I don't anticipate a summer fight straight after an April fight. You know, either way, whether it's Tyson or AJ who are involved at that time, I think far more likely is that there would be perhaps an opportunity for the winner of for the big clash to come. Perhaps in November, which is traditionally when the biggest fights tend to happen, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if actually 2019 was not the year when it actually came about. I wouldn't be surprised if this all went on as a talking point and that we actually finally saw the massive fight in 2020.
When you look at what Dillian Whyte achieved in 2018, beating Lucas Brown, Joseph Parker, and of course beating Derek Chisora, and now we've heard that he's been offered £4 million for the fight against Anthony Joshua. Put yourself in Dillian Whyte's shoes right now. How would you feel with the current situation and what's going on?
Well, I don't know what I don't know for a fact what the figures are, but Dillian will feel that he brings a lot to the table, and he'll be wanted to be treated as a headline act. whether or not, exactly what he's capable of generating is up to him and his advisors, and I'm not privy to that. All I do know is that he is now, as far as I'm concerned, he's very much at the big table.
And he's a hot free agent at the moment. There's obviously talks of him going to Al Heyman. Frank Warren said he'd be interested in signing him. What do you think the next step for Dillian Whyte in terms of signing with a promoter will be?
Yeah, he'll go out and listen to all the offers as they do, and he will take advice from various people. He'll see what they put on the table, and he'll just have to map out his own career from there. Dillian's not a fool. He's a bright guy. He's street smart, and he understands the boxing game. So he's not going to rush into anything. He'll look at all the offers which are on the table, and he'll react accordingly.
Moving away from the heavyweight division now, let's talk about the fight of the year voted by BT Sport, Josh Warrington versus Carl Frampton. A fantastic fight, a great fight for British boxing.
Absolutely.
What did you make of Josh Warrington's performance against Carl Frampton?
Well, the fight, first of all, I think it was one of the best fights that I've ever seen in a British ring. It was as good as that. It was absolutely an outstanding contest. The first couple of rounds were just breathtaking. Josh Warrington was inspired. It reminded me of 2005 when Ricky Hatton went in against Costas Tszyu. On that particular night in Manchester, Ricky was inspired, and I think that Josh Warrington against Carl Frampton in Manchester again, in the same arena, produced a performance of similar intensity. He was just outstanding, brilliant performance.
Of course, Josh Warrington hasn't got, the greatest knockout record, but what he offers is a fantastic engine, and he's a real trouble puncher. Anyone he gets in the ring with, he causes problems. Do you think Carl Frampton may have underestimated Josh Warrington?
Possibly so. Maybe so. I think probably he thought he was going to be technically a little bit too smart for Carl, but Carl is just absolutely at the peak of his powers. And obviously the speculation after that, will Carl fight again? I think Carl will fight again, and actually as a boxer, if he still maintains the desire, I think he should fight again, because there's no disgrace in having lost to somebody who produced the sort of inspired performance that Josh Warrington did. Maybe he underestimated him, I don't know, but I do know that there are still potentially big fights out there for Carl Frampton if he wants to continue.
Purse bids are due to take place. I think it's this week between Josh Warrington and his mandatory opponent, Kid Galahad. Firstly, looking at that fight, would you rather see Josh Warrington go for the likes of Leo Santa Cruz, or do you think Kid Galahad will be the next fight for Josh Warrington?
Well, my understanding is that those purse bids are going to be postponed, and that they'll be looking at it perhaps more seriously after Valdez has been in the ring. Josh would certainly prefer to fight Valdez or Santa Cruz. He wants to fight in the United States. Whether or not he could really be motivated in the same way to fight Kid Galahad, I'm not too sure. That's not a reflection on the ability of Galahad. It's just where Josh thinks he is in the world right now, and he wants big fights in the States.
And where do you rank Josh Warrington with the likes of Oscar Valdez and Leo Santa Cruz right now?
Right now, Josh Warrington gives anybody in the world a fight. He believes that he's the best, and he wants to take it from there. Anyway, I've got to finish.
No problem. Thank you very much for your time.
Got to finish.